Forget looking at naked people online, it's time for some Richard Burns Rally. And in this video, we're taking a look at the vanilla version of Richard Burns Rally and the next generation physics modded version of Richard Burns Rally. And I thought it'd be quite interesting to do a side-by-side comparison by loading the simulator up at the same stage in the beautiful, glorious British sunshine. That might look cloudy to you guys, but the trees are casting shadows, so, you know, that's a sunny day. Get over it. And I thought we could talk about how it actually handles different in NGP versus vanilla. Now, WorkerBee's NGP mod in the text file when you install it says, this plugin for Richard Burns Rally enhances RBR's built-in physics, tyres and surface materials are optimised to improve the behaviour of the vehicles, the vehicle physics are enhanced with new differential types and new engines, new drive types like rear-wheel drive torque splitting, all-wheel drive are provided, suspension has been improved by progressive bump stops and fast rebound dampening, setup parameters are being validated, fixed and logged if invalid. That's all very well and nice, lots of long words, but what's the actual reality like when driving it? The first things you notice are the cars are a lot slower, the torque seems a little bit more progressive in how it's delivered, i.e. you don't have to be as tentative on the accelerator pedal. The overall grip levels seem to be lower and the cars seem to give a sense of having more mass. The end result is that you have to be a bit more cautious with how you load the vehicle up going into corners and drive in what I would describe as a more preemptive fashion. So if you know there's a tight corner coming up, you can get the car in a sideways angle before you necessarily would be able to in the vanilla version, or it's easier to get the car in a slide that you're then holding onto than it is in the vanilla version. The vanilla version generally just feels a lot more pokey and a lot sharper. On the note of being sharper, another thing with the vanilla version is that it feels a lot tighter. The general suspension feels a lot tighter. How it rides over the track is a lot tighter if the car's just set up much firmer. Whereas the NGP version feels as if it's got much more soft, absorptive suspension that makes the car ride over the track in a little bit more of a calm way. Ultimately, the end result tends to be that you drive in a calmer way in NGP and less aggressively, whereas the vanilla version I found causes me to drive in a much more aggressive, attacking, snappy way. Is NGP better than the vanilla? Personally, I think it's just different. I can see how there's aspects of it. Like I say, it does make you drive a bit calmer. In some ways, I think it makes the driving a bit more believable. Some of the speeds you get up to in the stock content and just how dangerous it would be if your cars were like that in reality, especially how they sometimes ricochet over bumps, is mitigated by NGP, so it makes the overall end drive, the actual end result of how you end up approaching everything and what occurs on the stages from that, to me seem as if it lines up with what I think reality is probably more like. On the other side, I think one thing that seems to occur from NGP, at least on the gravel stages with the cars I've tried so far, is that there's a tendency to accidentally slide wider than you might be anticipating, especially if you get into a four-wheel, you lock up all four wheels and you're going sideways on. But you know, you just get used to that with practice. So ultimately, I think where the NGP mod probably shines most is with the newer mod cars that people have produced, and obviously they'll have produced those cars with the expectation that NGP is being used, so you know those cars will be better with that. If you're just sticking to the stock content in RBR and you've just had some Red Bull and you can cope with the insane pace of the vehicles, then I don't know if it's necessary to have it. As I say, the main thing is it's just different, so it's quite interesting to try it. The only real big downside of NGP I've found so far is that for some reason my force feedback wasn't as good using NGP as it is with the vanilla version of the game. For whatever reason, I seem to be able to get a lot more fidelity from the default force feedback, and it seems to just play better with my wheel. I'll fiddle around with the settings some more and see if I can rectify that, but that's the only real downside for me that would stop me from using NGP. Other than that, I'm really looking forward to going through a bunch of the mod cars that have been released over the past 300 years for RBR, and obviously most of them will, as I said earlier, be built with NGP in mind, so we will be using it for that. Now we're saying I've been using the RBR CIT tool which allows you to keep up to date the version of NGP, but also lets you grab individual cars and install them into your RBR or go back to stock content or whatever you want to do. Really good content manager for RBR, so check that out if you're looking at doing this yourself. And all in all, I mean, Richard Burns Rally is just bloody fantastic. The stages are so good. They just feel like, you know, real world locations. One of the things I read a lot about online in the you know, sim religion warfare sections is people saying that people only like Richard Burns Rally because it's hard, and that their argument is that hard is good, which to me doesn't make any sense because, you know, first of all, obviously hard doesn't equal good and easy doesn't equal good or bad or whatever, you know, it's a completely separate thing. But the difficulty in Richard Burns Rally doesn't come from the handling model and you know, the way the vehicles move. You really do, though it might take practice, though there might be aspects of it that aren't realistic, NGP or vanilla, whatever, the fact is it's got a very consistent model that you can learn. So, you know, if you've got a vague understanding of how vehicles generally handle from sim to sim and a general expectation of how real world physics work, it's fairly intuitive, and at worst case it's learnable. So I don't, you know, that's not particularly hard. What is hard in Richard Burns Rally are the tracks, because they are realistic tracks in that they're really narrow, as you'd generally expect farmers' driveways to be, and there's loads of little complex bumps and undulations on them. That is what makes it hard, but it also makes it really exciting and fun because you don't know what you're getting from track to track, and there's so much to take into consideration and so much questioning in your mind as to, you know, can I follow through on the side here? Will there be a little detail that's different? Will the car get stuck into these little tractor trails that are in the ground? Can I dip a wheel off the edge? Oh, I did dip a wheel off the edge and it's just hit something and now I've got to collect it. It really is really incredible how much that gets your focus going and how much adrenaline that gives you whilst driving, which when you play a driving simulator or driving game or a rally game that makes tracks super duper wide and maybe has a surface super duper bland, it's completely lost. So regardless of how good the underlying physics model of a game is, if you haven't got the tracks there for a rally game, or even for normal track-based games, having the laser scan tracks or very well-made track surfaces, it's night and day. It's half of the driving. The surface that you're moving your vehicle on is half of the, well, maybe it's not half, but you know, it's a huge component of the simulator and the game you're playing. So yes, RBR is bloody hard, but it doesn't come from the physics model, it comes from the mental tracks. So obviously that'll have cleared that argument up. Everyone's going to be quiet and chilled out when it comes to driving simulator, religion wars. Put some fuel on the fire. But there you go. You know, I've really helped there. That's the NGP modification compared to the vanilla version with the stock content on a single track. I did try some other tracks, but just for this video I focused on the this beautiful sunny British track for the sake of simplicity. Definitely, if you haven't got Richard Burns Rally, go and get it. I mean, you've just got to own it. Definitely check out the NGP modification. Definitely check out RSRBR 2016, I think it is the version. It might be 2017 by now. I'll put links in the description to everything that you need. Don't forget to click the subscribe button, don't forget to like us, and continue the Sim Religion Wars in the comments section. Until the next video, thanks for watching everybody, and goodbye.